In his short lifetime, 1912 to 1967, Woody Guthrie wrote over 3,000 songs. Accompanying himself on the guitar, he sang about what he saw happening around him: the breadlines of the Depression, migrant workers pouring out of the Dust Bowl, unions fighting for decent work conditions, and racism of all kinds. Hundreds of his songs came from his personal experience. Melancholy songs about his difficult childhood in Oklahoma and Texas, tender songs written for the women he loved, playful children's tunes written for his kids. It was Woody's career as a troubadour musician that popularized the term folk singer. He crossed and recrossed America, picking up cowboy songs, mountain ballads, religious music, sea shanties, blues, and work songs. But by the time a folk music revival blossomed in the late 1950s, Woody was permanently hospitalized with Huntington's disease, the same debilitating disease that claimed his mother. In Elizabeth Partridge's honest and gripping biography, This Land Was Made for You and Me, the life and songs of Woody Guthrie meet and travel the country with the man who created such a rich musical legacy for America.
That voice, those eyes, that hair, the cars, the girls. Elvis Presley revolutionized American pop culture when at the age of 21 he became the world's first modern superstar. A Memphis Beau Brummel even before he found fame, Elvis had a personal style that, like his music, had such a direct impact on his audience that it continues to influence us to this day. Elvis Presley compellingly examines Elvis's life and style to reveal the generous, complex, spiritual man behind the 14-karat gold singles, sunglasses, and answers the question, why does Elvis matter? Elvis Presley is the greatest cultural force in the 20th century, proclaimed Leonard Bernstein. By any measure, Presley's life was remarkable. From his modest beginnings in a two-room house to his meteoric rise to international fame, everything about his life, his outsized talent to his car collection, clamored for attention. And he got it. Even today, Elvis continues to fascinate. Written with the assistance of Elvis Presley Enterprises, Pamela Clark Koch's biography draws on extensive research and interviews with Presley friends and family, including Priscilla Presley, Joe Esposito, Jerry Schilling, Larry Geller, Bernard Lansky, famed Hollywood photographer Bob Willoughby, and designer Bob Below. Offered access to the Graceland archives, the author considered thousands of images, selecting more than 100 color and black and white photographs for this book, many of them rarely seen before. Both a significant biography of the greatest entertainer of our time and a provocative celebration of what Presley means to America today, Elvis Presley introduces the man behind the myth, a very human superstar beloved by millions.
Marion Anderson loved to sing. Her deep, rich voice thrilled audiences the world over. By the mid-1930s, she was a famed vocalist who had been applauded by European royalty, welcomed at the White House, and adored by appreciative listeners in concert halls across the United States. But because of her race, she was denied the right to sing at Constitution Hall, Washington's largest and finest auditorium. Though Marion Anderson was not a crusader or a spokesperson by nature, her response to this injustice catapulted her into the center of the civil rights movement of the time. She came to stand for all black artists and for all Americans of color when, with the help of prominent figures such as Eleanor Roosevelt, she gave a landmark performance on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial that broke racial barriers and hastened the end of segregation in the arts. Drawing on Anderson's own writing and other first-person accounts, Newbery medalist Russell Friedman shows readers a singer pursuing her art in the context of the social and political climate of the day. Profusely illustrated with contemporary photographs, here is an inspiring account of the life of a talented, determined artist who left her mark on music and social history. Everyone knows the name Buffalo Bill, but few these days know what he did, or in some cases didn't do. Was he a Pony Express rider? Did he ride with Wild Bill Hickok? Did he scalp countless Native Americans, or did he defend their rights? This, one of the first significant biographies of Buffalo Bill Cody for younger readers in many years, answers all these questions and more. Follow the life of William F. Cody from a childhood marred by tragedy, to an adolescence that flirted with poverty and rebellion, to an adulthood in which William transformed himself into Buffalo Bill and took the world by storm with his inventive shows and demonstrations. With copious archival illustrations and a handsome design, presenting Buffalo Bill makes the great showman, perhaps our first true global superstar, come alive for new generations. See him, that little tramp, twitching a postage stamp of a mustache, politely lifting his bowler hat and leaning on a bamboo cane with the confidence of a gentleman. A slapstick comedian, he blazed forth as the brightest movie star in the Hollywood heavens. Everyone knew Charlie Chaplin. When he was 5 years old, he was pulled on stage for the first time, and he didn't step off again for almost 3/4 of a century. Escaping the London slums of his tragic childhood, he took Hollywood like a conquistador with a Cockney accent. With his gift for pantomime in films that had not yet acquired vocal cords, he was soon rubbing elbows with royalty and dining on gold plates in his own Beverly Hills mansion. He was the most famous man on earth, and he was regarded as the funniest. Still is. He comes to life in these pages. It's an astonishing rags-to-riches saga of an irrepressible kid whose childhood was dealt from the bottom of the deck. Dance prodigy, sex symbol, gay pioneer, and cultural icon, Vaslav Nijinsky rose to fame as the star of the Ballet Russe in Paris before mental illness stole his career. This tragic story of a troubled genius chronicles a life of obsessive artistry, celebrity, and notoriety. With one grand leap off the stage at the 1909 premiere of the Ballet Russe inaugural season, Nijinsky became an overnight sensation and the century's first superstar. Perhaps the greatest dancer of the 20th century, he was also half of the most famous gay couple of the Edwardian era. Nijinsky's relationship with Sergei Diaghilev, the founder and artistic director of the Ballet Russe, pushed boundaries during a time when homosexuality and bisexuality were taboo. Veteran painter and author Lynn Curley tells the story of Nijinsky's life, interspersed with spotlights on the ballets the sensational dancer popularized. Classics such as The Afternoon of a Faun, Scheherazade, and The Rite of Spring, which caused a riot at its premiere. Illustrated with elegant portraits and archival art and photographs, the great Nijinsky paints a portrait of a time when art, dance, choreography, set design, and musical composition came together in a spectacular expression of avant-garde innovation.
When Charles S. Stratton was born in 1838, he seemed perfect in every way, but then he stopped growing. At age 4, though a happy and mischievous child, he was just over 2 feet tall and weighed 15 pounds, the exact size he had been as a 7-month-old baby. It was then that P.T. Barnum persuaded Charlie's family to allow him to exhibit their son in his museum and tour him around the world as a curiosity. Tom Thumb, as Barnum dubbed him, was a natural performer. He became enormously popular and wealthy, more so than any other performer before him, in large part due to the marketing genius of Barnum. In this spirited biography, the first on its subject, George Sullivan recounts the fascinating adventures of the real Tom Thumb and also raises challenging questions about what constitutes exploitation, both in the 19th century and today.
A century ago, the curious idea that spirits not only survive death but can be contracted on the other side was widespread. Psychic mediums lent countless seances, claiming to connect the grieving with their lost relations through everything from frenzied trance writing to sticky explosions of ectoplasm. The craze caught Harry Houdini's attention. Well known by then as the most renowned magician and escape artist, he began to investigate these spiritual phenomena. Are ghosts real? Can we communicate with them? Catch them in photographs? Or are all mediums flim-flammers, employing tricks and illusions like Houdini himself? Peopled with odd and fascinating characters, Houdini's gripping quest will excite readers' universal wonderment with life, death, and the possibility of the beyond. Martha Graham, the American dancer, teacher, and choreographer, revolutionized the world of modern dance. An electrifying performer and major artist of the 20th century, she possessed a great gift for revealing emotion through the dances she created, expressing beliefs and telling stories in a way utterly new to the world of dance. Newbery medalist Russell Friedman documents Martha Graham's life from her birth in Pittsburgh in 1894 to her final dance performance at the age of 75 and her continued career as a choreographer until her death in 1991. Graham's own recollections, as well as those of her dancers, students, close friends, and lovers, reveal her unwavering dedication to her art despite the difficult choices it presented. Although Martha Graham had many critics, her extraordinary sense of artistry and the intensity of her performance left an impression on all who saw her perform. A stunning collection of photographs, many not widely reproduced, complements this rare look at the life of a great American artist.